Everybody, what's up? How are y'all doing? It's been a while since I posted. I know I've had a lot of stuff going on. I'm doing okay. I'm a little tired today. I got a little bit of migraine, but I really wanted to get this video out because I just read, finally, the first Miles Morales Spider-Man comic issue, and I wanted to give you guys an awesome recap of our favorite character now that the Spider-Verse 2 movie is in theaters. So, before I get started in the recap, I kind of just wanted to go over who is Miles Morales. I mean, this is someone that we've probably been seeing a lot on social media, in commercials, the movie's blowing up in the theaters, but who is this invisible Spidey that Marvel and Sony has given to us? So, in the Spider-Verse movies, he's best friends with Spider-Gwen, aka Gwen Stacy, who becomes the Spider-Man or Spider-Woman in her universe. And he's the mentee of Peter B. Parker, who is the Peter Parker of Earth 616. Little nerdy info if you're into that kind of thing. And he's made other relationships as well in the movie, such as Penny Parker, Peter Porker, Spider-Man Noir, and like other people too. So he's in there. He's a crucial point of the Spider-Verse movies. He's the main character. And he is Spider-Man of Earth 1610. Now, Spider-Man is not just in, Miles Morales is not just in the Spider-Verse movies. He's got his own comic series, obviously, it's what I'm talking about today. He's even got his own characters in different games. You can play as him in Fortnite. He's got the Spider-Man Miles Morales video game on PlayStation, and other versions of him exist as well. Spoiler alert, that is seen in the movies as well when we see Miles Morales as Prowler on Earth 42. So he's not the only Miles Morales out there, just as he isn't the only Spider-Man out there, but he's one of many. And he is a very popular Afro-Latino superhero. That's why everyone really liked him. We got, some diversity into the Spider-Man universe. So that he is who we will be talking about today. He's the main character of the Spider-Man, the Miles Morales comics. And he's the main character of the Spider-Verse movie. So, yes, he's definitely, I really recommend him. He's one of my favorite superheroes, but I am a little biased because I like Spider-Man. So I like any Spider-Man character. But he definitely brings a lot of pop to the movies. The soundtrack is amazing and it fits his character perfectly. He's definitely relatable for a lot of younger viewers as well, which is probably why I'm a little biased towards him, but he's someone that all of us can enjoy and relate to. So, he is the main character of the Miles Morales comic book that I'll be going through today. So the first issue that we're talking about today of the Miles Morales comic was published in 2011. He was not as popular as a character as he is now that he's been in the Spider-Verse animated movies, but he was still pretty popular, which is why he got a long-standing series. So he was written by... Forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but I believe it's Saladin Ahmed. He's the writer of at least the first issue, and the artist is Javier Garron. So I just wanted to give those proper credits because, as y'all probably know, the comic community, I wouldn't say it's a dying community, but it is a struggling community. So just wanted to give the credits there, and you guys can go find your more works by those artists and really just enjoy the comic book aside from this recap that I'm giving you. And as you can see, this is the cover. It's really awesome in my opinion. There are variants, but I just included this one because this is the one that I'm reading. So yeah. So at the very start of the comic issue, we automatically see some narration. Usually there's a lot of narration in different comic issues, but it's almost always from the perspective of the character, and this comic is no different. In fact, we actually discover that Miles Morales is keeping a diary or a journal about his life, including his secret of being Spider-Man, including what he goes through just as a normal teenager, his innermost deep thoughts and secrets, and he's writing them all openly in this journal. God, I really hope a villain or someone does not snatch that journal in a future issue because his life would be over. But he started keeping one as an assignment for his English class. that requires each writer to have somewhere to let it all out. Very interesting, and I kind of like that because, you know, not a lot of people journal. I admit I don't even journal, but when I do put my pen to that paper, it is helpful. And it's just kind of interesting to see a writer of a comic book writing about their character writing. This is something that I think about. But we see him write quite a few times already in this issue, and the lines that he writes is actually the narration throughout the story, and potentially throughout the entire series. I haven't read the other comics, so I'm reacting live time, but I'm assuming that's what it's going to be, and I'm actually really excited for that because I'm a nerd for character analysis. I love the deep thoughts of characters, and we don't always get that in every series, so it's really interesting to me. I haven't seen it written that way before. I'm sure there are comics out there that have done the same thing, but it's just really unique to me. So I really enjoy that concept. Something that's very interesting to me, which contrasts a lot of Spider-Man media, is that we don't go through the whole I got bit by a spider and this happened to my uncle and this is my life now. Like, we don't get solo like scenes on that. That stuff is briefly covered as kind of just context and backstory given in the first few pages of the first issue. Because, I mean, we already know what happens. Gets bit by a radioactive spider, becomes Spider-Man, you know, for example. So it's really interesting that the author and writer together didn't really put a scene going through the before, during, and aftermath of that. Where we would see that in other storylines or in other media. And I don't think it's really needed. I think this is a new story, a new take, a new Spider-Man. And I kind of like that it started off different. It just gave us the information we needed to know, and is already starting with a new yet familiar character, beloved superhero, and to be beloved storyline. However, the journal is not the only place we get some interesting and new concepts, especially for a Spider-Man story. I'm just gonna say, his family knows. Like, we start off in the first issue of Miles Morales, and his family knows he's Spider-Man. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just so wild to me. Like, not only do we not see that unfold because it's not part of the story, we're starting off with them already knowing. So he already has this support system that has a different dynamic than other Spider-Mans of other universes, especially the Spider-Mans that we're used to, the Peter Parkers. He's already got that definition to his character, and we're only a couple pages in. But his family is drastically, well, some of his family members are drastically different in the comic compared to the animated series. I'm not inherently surprised by that, but it is very interesting. So for example, Jeff, his father, was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the family didn't know until recently. Like, I'm just picturing this all unfolding. Like, they just come out just one by one with a few, like, months apart of just being, like, superheroes or working with superheroes. Like, that's so funny. But yeah, so Jeff is not a police officer. He's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's pretty badass. His mom is the head nurse at a local hospital. I'm pretty sure she's that in the movie too, but her personality is enough badass. Like, we didn't need to up that up. Like, she is the, like, hero. And, you know, just as Miles says in the comics, she's the real hero. I love Rio so much. Like, I might actually make a video just about her, so comment down below if you'd like that. It'd probably be just like one of those profile videos I'm gonna put up, so yeah. And Uncle Aaron, this I kind of could tell based on just how his Uncle Aaron was portrayed in the movie, that in the comics he was not the Prowler, and that's facts. However, I was shocked to find out who he is. So Uncle Aaron is the Iron Spider. He's still a supervillain and a foe of Spider-Man. But when we think of Iron Spider, you know, maybe some of us, our minds will go to the MCU with Tom Holland playing Peter Parker, and he's got that Iron Spider suit given to him by Tony Stark. And, you know, it's not the case in this universe. In this universe, the Iron Spider is not just another costume or suit made for Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man's enemy. and beloved uncle. And I don't know, this is just mind-blowing to me. It's really exciting to just see these differences in the characters. But one thing does stay the same, and that's Gunk. That's his name, right? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, when I'm reading the comic books, I don't, like, search up how to pronounce these things. I probably should. I'm gonna start doing that. But it's like, when you're reading it, you don't really know how, you don't need to know how it's pronounced, you know what I mean? Like, you're looking at it, you're not hearing it. But, you know, I should get their names right 100% to give the characters the respect they deserve, and give the languages that these words come from the respect they deserve. So comment down below for me just this once how you pronounce some of these names, and I'll keep working on it, and we'll see if I can pronounce it by the end of the next video. But he is Miles Morales' best friend, not just his buddy and his dorm mate, but they are dorming together in the comic series, and they've been friends since they were 3, and he also knows that Miles is Spider-Man. You know, some of us might be thinking, like, who doesn't know that Miles Morales is Spider-Man at this point? But, you know, you really have to think. In the MCU, the Tom Holland Peter Parker was taking his mask off in crazy places. Granted, he probably thinks he's doing a good job of keeping his secret identity, considering the person he looks up to is Tony Stark, who will give the world his address. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to see, you know, we always picture Peter Parker as family doesn't know, Uncle Ben is dead, but his hero, and he's living this double life, the nerdy, scrawny Peter Parker, and then the funny superhero Spider-Man. But when we get into these other variants, when we get into characters like Miles Morales, we see a complete flip. And these characters feel whole. Not that the other characters didn't, but it's different, and it's very interesting. But as far as we know, those are the only people who know that Miles Morales is Spider-Man, at least as exposed in the first issue. Another thing that I found was really interesting to point out was that there was an original Spider-Man in Miles Morales' universe. Oftentimes we think I am the one and only Spider-Man. You know what I mean? But in this comic, that's not true. In fact, there's many hints, and even the image shown to the right of me, of Miles Morales with the original quote-quote Spider-Man, who I can only assume is Peter Parker. So there either is or was another Spider-Man in Miles' universe besides him. And I don't want to say, you know, it is or was. I know that in the animated movie, he died, and that is what made room for the one and only Miles Morales Spider-Man. I don't know what the case is here, because I know, for example, in the PlayStation video game, they work together, and it just kind of depends on the storyline you're following, so that's not been revealed yet. When it is revealed, I'll let y'all know, because if they kill Peter, oh my god, I'm gonna be a mess. But that also, doesn't make an experience, besides the brief contextual photos shown here, visible to us. So what I mean by that is, you know, he's talking a lot about Spider-Man as a mentor or as a guide to him, but he's not the main character. Like, we really don't see him at all. We see, like, brief past images of him and past adventures and past experiences, but we don't see anything new. And I think that's just alluding to the fact that this is Miles Morales, not Peter Parker. But it is still interesting that they still kept that character in for the first issue. It really just makes me wonder what's coming up, if there's going to be any collaborations. I know that Miles Morales' character from this storyline is in other comic storylines that are Spider-Verse storylines, so maybe it's alluding to that. I don't know, but I'm really excited to find out. Goodbye, Gwen, because Barbara is the love interest in this story, and I kind of like it. So at least as hinted in issue 1, Barbara is a schoolgirl who attends Brooklyn Visions with Miles, and she appears twice during this issue alone, which is making me think they're either going to get rid of her fast because they're getting us readers attracted and attached to her, or she's going to be a consistent character throughout the series who they're going to show a lot of. Either way, I love her. She's pretty, she's funny, and her and Miles tend to have some chemistry. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting in terms of a love interest. It's just I only ever really pictured him with Gwen Stacy, but I still picture that as more of a friendship bond, I'm not gonna lie. But every good story needs a love story on the side and some quarrels on the side, so we'll see where it goes. But this is also just kind of me assuming, because they're not stated to be actually dating. But there is something going on between them, and I'm not going to spoil it beyond that because I don't want to give away all of the story and all of the panels. But what I can say is that after this, there is a huge plot twist at the end of this issue, the very first issue, just to get us hooked, and I've been dying to read the next issue, but I wanted to film this video first, and it includes Barbara's little brother, Eduardo. Y'all want to stick around for the end of this video for more info on that, trust me. And Gwen Stacy, who I mentioned before, who is the character in the Spider-Verse animated movie, has made no appearance in this first issue. I'm assuming just because this is a Miles Morales comic, not a Spider-Verse comic. But it still just makes me wonder, you know, if they could put in the original Spider-Man, why not put in some other Spider-Mans? So we'll see where that goes. Maybe that starts the Spider-Verse line that he becomes a part of, but I'm just hypothesizing. Yeah, no, so she's not in it, but Barbara is a good replacement. It's just, it takes a little getting used to, you know, because I'm not used to seeing it. But I like it. I like it. But after learning all these interesting facts to set up the context of Miles' life in this series, and learning about Barbara, and seeing him with Barbara together, what happens next is completely unpredictable. So Spider-Man, Miles, spots an ongoing robbery. And the small silent robots or suits are the perpetrators. And he makes a few comments about that. I thought he was just kind of making fun of them. But we'll get to that. In the midst of stopping them, Rhino shows up, and this I was really excited for, because I know that Rhino is not one of the most powerful or endangering Spider-Man villains, but he was always one of my favorite growing up, and he was always, without a doubt, one of the first heroes that pop up in the Spider-Man series, whether it's cartoons or games or whatever it was. So I was just waiting for him, and I'm so happy that they brought him into this universe, and Miles has his own version of Rhino that he fights in the very first issue. But what's interesting is that compared to other media and other Spider-Man media that we've consumed, Rhino doesn't go after Miles. In fact, he doesn't want to attack Spider-Man at all, only until Spider-Man gets on his nerves, accusing him of orchestrating the ongoing crime, does he actually try to attack Miles. But after that blowout, he reveals to Miles that these small thieves kidnapped his niece, and that he has nothing to do with the robbery. And my head, honestly, when I first read it, the first thing I went to was, he has a niece? But, yes, he does. And then my head went straight to, is he a good guy or a bad guy in this series? And then my head went straight to, there's a crime going on, and I think that's where Miles and Rhino went too, because Miles goes to catch up with these thieves, who almost get away. They almost get away, while him and Rhino were going at it. They just kind of get pushed to the back, and then they got bring back after the fight, and we're like, whoa. I can't English today. I hope you understand what I just said, but after that, Miles catches up with them and actually is able to go face to face with one of them. They pretend to surrender, and Miles actually gets to unmask whoever is under this suit. And it's not just that he unmasks them, but he discovers why they're so small It's because they're children. There are children making, like, robbing places and committing crimes and holding their own against Spider-Man in, like, robotic suits in the first issue of Miles Morales. Like, you know, that's wild. It's awesome. And it also shows me how age-friendly the comic is, just because there are now characters that we can all relate to. But there's another twist. They're not just any children. He unmasks Eduardo, Barbara's little brother from earlier in the issue, and he's unresponsive and doesn't seem to recognize Spider-Man at all. At all. And actually lifts his hand to attack him. And Miles is just like, whoa, what? And the issue ends there. Y'all, I need to read issue 2. Like, this is why I had to hop on and read this video, like, do this video so quickly, because whoa! Like, I need y'all's thoughts on that in the comments below, because that is just wild to me. I need your, like, thoughts right now. Like, I was not expecting children. I was not expecting his love interest brother. Like, what are these triangles and parallels happening right now? Like, there's his love interest little brother, and then there's his uncle who's actually Iron Spider, and just all these things. Like, oh my god, like, I'm overloaded. Got my composure now. So, comment down below, because I just need to know everybody's thoughts. Let me know if you want me to go over the second issue of this. Like, this is so intriguing, and it's just done so well. Like, the cliffhanger is just excellent. Like, mwah. Chef's kiss. Like, honestly. So, that was my very brief recap of issue 1 of the Miles Morales comic. If you want to read more, this is the second issue. This is what the cover looks like. I highly recommend it, and really just go support the writers, the artists, the colorists, everyone, and have a great time, like, on this adventure like I'm going to. And please, like, comment down below if you want me to do more recaps of this series. I would love to. It's really interesting so far. I'm a huge Spider-Man fanatic. Let me know if this was as interesting or helpful for you to catch up in the comic and what's going on in the Miles Morales universe. And lastly, I want to hear your thoughts about Miles Morales. Like, who is your favorite Miles Morales version? Like, I want to know, is it this comic version? Is it the version from the animated movie? Is it the PlayStation version? I need to know. So go check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment if you enjoyed, or if you want to see more content like this, or if you have any constructive feedback, I would love it. And go to the community section on my YouTube channel, and you'll find this poll where you can vote for your favorite Miles, and that's going to help me determine some more upcoming videos and content, and really just get to know you guys a little bit more. So go check that out, okay? Thank y'all so much for the support. This video has been so fun. It's been amazing. This comic has been so intriguing and interesting, and I just can't wait to make more of these videos and go over more of these really amazing superheroes with you all.